What if the only way to save Westeros wasn't to kill the monster, but for the ultimate hero to become him? In the ashes of the long night, with the Night King shattered, a new threat emerges. Not an army, but a cosmic imbalance so dangerous it threatens to literally tear the world apart. This is the story of how Jon Snow's exile became a secret mission to the heart of winter. A journey to take up a frozen crown and restore order to a world on the edge of total annihilation. Now, if you think Game of Thrones is just what you saw in the show, you are missing out on the deeper, weirder magic that holds that world together. After the credits rolled, a lot of us were left wondering what happened to the bigger picture. The Song of Ice and Fire itself. And when you pull on that thread, you find a story way darker and way more tragic than what we got. We start in Winterfell. The snow has melted, the dead are gone, and the living have won. But as everyone celebrates, Bran, the three-eyed raven, feels something go terribly wrong. You see, killing the Night King wasn't just winning a war. It ripped a foundational piece out of the world's magic. It created a vacuum, a void that threatens to unravel the very laws of nature. For thousands of years, the Night King's power, the great other, Absolute Zero, was an anchor, a terrifying, destructive anchor, but a necessary one. Now with him gone, that power is unchained. Bran sees visions of the seasons spinning out of control, not towards an endless winter, but an eternal summer. A world scorched by a sun that never sets, where rivers boil and cities turn to dust. He realizes the Song of Ice and Fire needs both voices to work. One can't just snuff the other out. This is where Jon Snow's tragic destiny clicks into place. His murder of Daenerys is seen as the ultimate crime, and he's exiled back to the Wall. But for Bran, this isn't a punishment. It's a calculated move on a cosmic chessboard. As Jon gets ready to ride north, Bran meets him, his words heavy with secrets he can't fully reveal. The true north is not just a place, he says. It is a responsibility. You were brought back for a reason, Jon. Jon, broken and tired, just thinks he's paying for his sins, with no idea he's actually starting his final sacrificial mission. As Jon, Tormund, and Ghost head north of the Wall, they find a land that's all wrong. The bitter cold they knew is replaced by this weird, unnatural warmth. Ancient glaciers are melting into raging rivers, and the tough northern plants are dying. The wildlings are terrified, their elders muttering that the ancient pacts have been broken, that the world is out of balance. Jon's journey becomes a desperate search for answers. He starts seeking out the old, magical places, and eventually, they stumble on a hidden valley where a small group of the children of the forest are still hiding. And they are not the monsters of legend. They're ancient, tired keepers of the world's oldest secrets. One of them, Leaf, lays out the horrifying truth. The Night King, she explains, was never a god of pure evil. He was a weapon, yes, but a weapon that became a necessary part of the world's magical ecosystem. He was the anchor of ice that kept the power of fire from growing unchecked. With him gone, fire magic, the kind that powers dragons and the Lord of Light, is now set to explode, threatening to burn everything. The world doesn't need another warrior, she tells him. It needs a warden, it needs a new anchor. Then, she looks at Jon, and she sees it all. The Stark blood connecting him to the First Men, and the ancient magic of winter. But more importantly, the fire inside him. The Targaryen blood, and the literal fire from the Lord of Light that brought him back to life. He is ice and fire in one body. The only person in the entire world who could possibly contain this paradox. He's the only one who can sit on the frozen throne. The ritual happens in the same place where the first Night King was made thousands of years ago. But this isn't a simple act of creation. This is a transformation. Jon can't just be killed and brought back. The fire that keeps him alive, the gift from Arlor, has to be turned inside out, becoming its own opposite. Jon stands in front of the heart tree, and Leaf comes to him, not with dragon glass, but a shard of pure, solid magic ice. She tells him this pain will be worse than any sword. This will be the death of every warm part of him. He thinks of his family, of Ygritte, of Dany. His whole life has been a war between his duty and his heart, and now his duty is demanding he sacrifice his very soul. He has to become the monster to save everyone else. He nods. Leaf pushes the ice shard into his chest, right where Ollie's dagger went in. There's no blood, just a blinding, freezing white light. Jon screams, and the fire of his resurrection flares up, fighting the cold. He feels his memories flash freezing, his passions turning to ice. For a second, the two forces are ripping him apart. But then he remembers his purpose, his duty. He stops fighting. He lets the cold win. The fire doesn't go out. It's consumed, twisted from red R'hllor flames into the silent blue power of the Great Other. When he finally looks up, his eyes are no longer gray. They're the burning, star-like blue of the deepest winter. Jon Snow is gone. In his place is a silent, knowing figure, the new king of winter. But what do you think? Could a man with Jon Snow's conscience truly control this kind of power, or would he just become the next great evil? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this dive into the frozen heart of Westeros, be sure to like and subscribe for more what-if scenarios. Jon's rise to power doesn't start a new war. It brings a new, silent order. From the lands of always winter, he starts his work. The unnatural melting stops. A controlled, gentle snow returns to the north, healing the land. The seasons slowly start to find their rhythm again. He's not a conqueror. He's a cosmic regulator. He has absolute power over the dead, but he doesn't raise an army. The whites he creates are silent guardians, patrolling the frozen wastes to make sure the balance holds. He still has his memories, but they're like old pictures viewed through a thick sheet of ice, there but without any emotional warmth. South of the Wall, the world feels it. The crazy weather stabilizes, but then rumors start to trickle down from the last few rangers. Rumors of a silent king with blue star eyes who commands the dead. Queen Sansa hears them and doesn't know whether to be terrified or hopeful, strengthening the North's defenses against a brother who might now be the world's greatest threat. It's Arya who goes to find the truth. She slips past the wall, moving unseen through this new, silent kingdom. She finds him on a cliff, watching his white patrols. He looks like Jon, but he's unnervingly still. She calls his name, and he turns. There's a flicker of recognition in his terrifying eyes. A distant echo, but he doesn't speak. In that moment, she understands. This isn't her brother anymore. He's a guardian, locked in a terrible prison of duty. There's no fight here, just a heartbreaking tragedy. She leaves him to his watch, saying goodbye to the brother she's now lost for a second time. The final test, of course, comes from the south. In this timeline, Jon never killed Daenerys. Her fire consumed King's Landing, and now she turns her dragons toward the last kingdom standing, the North. When she hears about a new King of the Dead, she sees it as the final monster to be slain. She flies north on Drogon, expecting an army of ghouls. Instead, she finds an impossible blizzard at the edge of the true north, a wall of wind and ice so perfectly controlled it feels alive. The part of Jon that was once Jon Snow doesn't want to fight her, but his new purpose is absolute balance. And her fire, embodied by Drogon, is a force he must oppose. As Drogon flies into the storm, a bigger shadow rises to meet him. It's Viserion, reanimated not as a white, but as an extension of Jon's pure, cold power. The two dragons clash in the sky, elemental forces of fire and ice made real. Down below, Tyrion watches in horror, and this is when Bran makes his final move. He sends a raven, not to Dany, but to Tyrion. Through its eyes, he shows Tyrion the future if Daenerys wins, a world of ash. He explains that Jon isn't their enemy. He's the tragic hero, holding back a power that would destroy them all. Tyrion, grasping the awful truth, convinces Daenerys to pull back. A tense, unspoken truce is declared. Fire will rule the south, ice will guard the north. In the end, the story of Jon Snow becoming the Night King is a wild reminder that in this world, some victories are indistinguishable from defeat. A new balance is found, but the hero who saved everyone is lost to them forever. He is the prince that was promised, but his destiny wasn't to win a war with a flaming sword. It was to become the eternal winter itself. He is the silent king on an endless watch, his sacrifice a secret that only the wind and snow will remember, a ghost haunting the future of the world he saved.